This is Beijing, the capital of China. This is New York, the largest city in America. This is Karachi, the financial capital of Pakistan, and this is Mumbai, the economic hub of India. What is common in all of them? The future of all these cities and all the people living in them will soon be decided by only one country. And that is Morocco, located in North Africa, the fourth largest Arab country in the world, which controls the future of the entire world. But what is it that gives Morocco this unique advantage? And why all the superpowers of the world are looking at Morocco at this time? Let's find out in this video. Here is the bat, an animal that has been a symbol of fear for humans for the past few years, whether it was the 2020 coronavirus or the early 20th century Spanish flu. People think of bats as just a disease-carrying animal. But few people know that the human population has quadrupled in the last 100 years because of this bat. European explorer Alexander Vaughan in 1822, he was passing through the South American country of Peru that he saw a very surprising thing. In fact, Peru's land is not at all suitable for agriculture. But there was lush green grass and rolling fields. When Alexander asked the people there why, he found out that they put the excrement of bats and some seabirds on their fields, making their land many times larger. Production used to produce. Alexander brought this knowledge to the Western world and then used it as a fertilizer. Western countries began to increase their agricultural production. In 1913, Fritz Haber discovered the method of artificially producing the same fertilizer, and because of this fertilizer, the human population literally exploded in just 100 years. From 1912 to 2012, the world population increased from 1.5 billion to 7.5 billion. Everything was going well, but then in 2010, scientists discovered something very dangerous. The two compounds used in this fertilizer, potassium and phosphate, also known as potash in compound form, are rapidly disappearing from our soil. Now the reserves of potassium in our earth are probably for the next 100 years. But on the other hand, phosphate reserves are probably only left for the next 50 years. And the second biggest problem is that we cannot create phosphate artificially. For this reason, many countries have started implementing strict policies to protect phosphate reserves. And as a result, the price of phosphate has increased by 80% between 2020 and 2021. In September 2021, China completely banned the export of its phosphate reserves in order to produce enough fertilizer for its population to avoid food shortages. Now the big interesting point here is that China has the second largest phosphate reserves in the world. But they constitute only 5% of the world's reserves. Syria has the world's third largest phosphate reserves, and they also constitute only 3% of the world's total phosphate reserves. Similarly, countries in the rest of the world also have roughly only 1 to 2% of their phosphate reserves. But there is one country that has 70% of phosphate reserves, and that is Morocco. Morocco has 70% of the world's phosphate reserves. Just think that one country has a monopoly of such resources on which the future and survival of the people of the whole world is dependent. Which countries will be able to apply fertilizers to their crops and which countries will not? All this will be decided by Morocco. Whenever our survival or future is dependent on something, so wars become inevitable as a result. Now that our future is dependent on artificial intelligence, all the superpowers are focused on exploring the metal lithium that powers this AI. In all of human history, the most blood has been shed to obtain food, the food supply. Unfortunately, our world today has again reached the point where there is going to be a severe shortage of food very soon. And powerful countries can go to any lengths to address this deficit. Morocco will soon occupy a very powerful position in international geopolitics. Because we have seen something like this historically. Going back 100 years, in the 19th and 20th centuries, all oil production was in the hands of the United States. And that's what made him a superpower. In the 18th century, the British Empire had the largest metal reserves in the world. And on the basis of this he ruled the whole world. And Morocco has such reserves of resources on which the entire human race is dependent for survival. In the whole of human history, no single nation or country has received such an advantage as Morocco is about to receive, but only time will tell what its implications or side effects will be.